This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for July 24th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast. Let's get right into it because what a disappointing, annoying, frustrating, whatever you want to call it, loss yesterday for the Phils. Blow a 5-0 lead. It looked great. Looked like they should have swept. I guess kudos to the Red Sox for not giving up, knowing that it's the last game of the series, you're getting out of town. It would have been very easy to give up, but you had Schwarber hitting bombs. Bryce Harper hit number 350. Our boy Bryson Stott, after getting ripped by me yesterday, came out, hit a homer, had a double on the day that his son was born. So maybe, just maybe, that was what was weighing on his mind. As a dad, I get it. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come for Bryson. Did change his walk-up song too. So a lot of people disappointed, including my own kids. No more A-OK. But you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Now let's keep that momentum rolling when you get back up to New York on Friday. Castellanos hit a homer. It just... I don't know. Luzardo was absolutely lights out for the first 4 innings. Like, this was a microcosm of his season. Lights out, no hitter through 4 innings. Struggled a bit there in the 5th. All started with a missed foul pop that JT couldn't find. Luzardo, I guess, lost it in the lights. It's one of those things, though. I mean, no harm, no foul. It happens. But then it just all unraveled for Jesus. I got to put some of this blame on Rob Thompson, though. And he even admitted after the game that he said, that's on me. Should have had somebody up, maybe gotten him out of there earlier. But that misfoul pop kind of opened the floodgates, and then he started getting wild, lost his command. I got to put that one on Topper. And to me, this is the most egregious and I know he's made a few of them this year, most egregious mistake he's made. But, man, no way you got to lose that game. Phillies did battle back, ended up losing it in 12, but you can't do that. You can't lose this game. Not when you're up 5-0. The offense seems to be finally turning it around, and then you got the manager now making mistakes. And this team could have a 5-6 game lead in the NL East if it wasn't for mismanagement by the manager, poor hitting with runners in scoring position, a bullpen that is below average at best. And I can't even put this on the bullpen. They actually pitched their asses off last night. So it's just this team is frustrating. The Mets did sweep the Angels, which means now the Phillies head into today a half a game back of the Mets. They're like 3.5 up still for the second wild card, like a game and a half or two behind the Cubs as well. So, I mean, you won the series, but the fact that this game was there to be won is extremely frustrating. And I got to put that on the manager. And I think with Luzardo, maybe we found our candidate. I know a few weeks ago I mentioned Christopher Sanchez based on contract and this and that, but Christopher Sanchez is pitching 2 lights out right now to move to the bullpen. And Luzardo has shown, even in these starts he struggles, that he has 2 to 4 good innings in him. So maybe Luzardo to the bullpen once Painter and Nola come back. Maybe that's the way to go, but man, we are a week out from the trade deadline, and rumors are everywhere, but they need something, man. And I don't know. It's getting late in the season, but we just talked about it this week where the Phillies did fire a manager while the team was in first place. I don't know, but man, Rob Thompson, got to put this one on him. They did win the series, though, so I guess that we can take some solace in that. Did not take advantage of the Mets being in a tailspin. So we'll see what happens. I do feel this is going to be back and forth all year anyway, the rest of the summer. So buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But 1 week till the trade deadline. And Bryson, listen, sorry I was so tough on you, but it worked out. You responded well. So if you have any ideas or people you want me to rip into, seems like whenever I start ripping into people, they seem to get it together, with the exception of Max Kepler. So DFA and bring up Crawford, put Marsh in left, and go after as many bullpen pieces as you can. That's my trade deadline take. But frustrating loss for the Phils. They're off today, up to play the Yankees this weekend. A team that's kind of like the mirror image, the American League version of the Phillies, just can't find anything consistently. But if you're ever going to go on a run, now would be the time to do it. MLS All-Star Game was yesterday. Ty Barabeau scored a goal for the MLS All-Stars as they beat the La Liga All-Stars 3-1. They're off now until Saturday when it's really crunch time, really a sprint run to the end of the season for the Union. But kudos and shout out to Ty Barabeau, who did score for the MLS All-Stars. All right, let's get into some fun stuff. The Eagles opened up training camp yesterday and just had a conversation with my wife. If you have been living under a rock, maybe you didn't know, but it's all over the news that the Eagles are back in town. And lots of good things happened yesterday on the first day of camp. The most notable and really exciting thing is Jihad Campbell was practicing. He was still a limited participant. However, he was participating in 11-on-11 drills, and that is huge, huge for the Eagles as they really got a steal, I think, with Jihad Campbell. So we'll see what happens with that, but I didn't think he was going to be practicing at all. So the fact that he's even a limited participant, just maybe he'll be all right to go for the Thursday night opener against the Cowboys. In the meantime, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. was taking the first team reps opposite of Zach Bond while Nakobe Dean's out. Nakobe might not be back this season at all. So lots of things to work with there with Jihad Campbell and Jeremiah Trotter, but good news that Campbell is playing. The right guard position is the other position battle that remains sort of unclear, but it looks like it's Tyler Steen's job to lose. He was taking most of the first team reps yesterday, and I like it, man. He came in with a ton of hype going through Stoutland U, so hopefully this is you just kind of plug him in and he can just pick up where the offensive line leaves off and goes from there. The other battles are in the secondary, and it looks like it's safety right now. They were rotating guys in and out. Sidney Brown, Makuba was getting some run. Cooper was playing safety in a lot of the base packages, but they don't play a lot of base package. That's why I guess it's looking for ways to get Coop on the field. And then at cornerback, it does seem as though it's Keely Ringo's job to lose, so we'll see what happens with that. Adoree Jackson was getting some first-team reps as well, so we'll see. And then the other biggest story was, I don't even know if it's a story, but it's early in training camp, dog days of summer, so this seemed to be a big story everywhere, but there's been no photos of Jalen Hurts wearing his Super Bowl ring. Even at the pictures that have come out from the ceremony, that's what everybody's been talking about. Why is he not wearing his ring? Why is he not wearing his ring? And he was asked about it, and he's like, look, I moved on. We need to focus on this year. And that, for some reason, some people took offense to that and rubbed people the wrong way. I don't give a shit if he wears his Super Bowl ring or not. Just, it is what it is. And truthfully, I kind of like it. The whole team's coming in with this whole, all right, last year was last year. This is a new year. Let's focus on this year. And I like it. I mean, that shows to me it's a focus on getting the job done this year. Jordan Mailata came out and was like, we're not defending anything. We're the 2024 champions. This is 2025. A whole new year, new team, new challenge in front of them. We're not defending anything. There's a lot of talk about, we're not talking about repeat right now either. And I like it. They're focused on what the task is at hand, and that is winning the Super Bowl this year, Super Bowl 50 or Super Bowl 60. So I like it, and I don't necessarily think this is them consciously trying to come out and say this. They're being asked these questions, and I like it. You're not the defending champs. You are the champs for 2024. Stuff like that's for the fans. And truthfully, it's going to be nice on Thursday night against the Cowboys to see them raise that banner. But that's for last year. And that's really a ceremony for the fans. I like the attitude. I like the mindset. And it's kind of like focus on 2025. Treat it as its own separate entity. And then deal with repeat and defending and all of that after you win the Super Bowl this year. Now, if you win the Super Bowl this year, you can say we're the two-time defending, reigning, whatever you want to say. But for right now, I like it, especially on day one, setting that tone. Look, we are not defending. We are not repeating. We are focused on 2025. 2024 is in the past. We just talked about this on Tuesday with our Tuesday motivation, where every day you wake up and you have that choice to create your own masterpiece. Can't change anything that happened yesterday. And they're saying, we won that Super Bowl yesterday. Doesn't mean anything for this year. And I like it. I absolutely love it. But would love to know your thoughts on that, because it does seem that a lot of people were very annoyed by it. But 267-495-8531, that's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Leave your thoughts. Text me, call me, whatever you need to do. Don't forget the Discord channel is live. Looking to get that thing up, and really some good sports talk for football season. So that's the first link in the description. Come over and let's talk some Philly sports. And then speaking of the Discord channel, that is where the trivia question gets posted every day. And yesterday, I asked you, who are the top 5 Phillies in all-star appearances? Excuse me. Sorry about that. But number 1 is Mike Schmidt with 12. Robin Roberts and Steve Carlton are tied for second with 7. Chase Utley has 6. Larry Boa and Richie Ashburn are tied for 4th with 5. And then you have tied for 4th with 5, and then tied for 5th with 4, Greg Luzinski, Johnny Callison, and Pete Rose. So thank you for everybody. We had a good discussion about Phillies All-Stars, and then there's a ton that have 3, including Ryan Howard, Zach Wheeler, Bob Boone, Cole Hamels. So lots of Phillies with 3 All-Star appearances. Want to show off your Philly pride without saying a word? Philly Goat has you covered. From tees, hoodies, shoes, and hats, their gear screams Philly louder than an Eagles fan at the vet. Whether you're tailgating in South Philly or trying to flex down the Jersey Shore, do it in style. Hit up phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery, and get 10% off your order. Philly Goat, because being Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. Go Birds! And I got to say, you got to go check out Philly Goat. I want to apologize for yesterday. Somehow I uploaded the wrong ad breaks, and everything was all about Beach Caddy. Now, Beach Caddy, great thing. If you're going down to the Jersey Shore, hit up Beach Caddy. But Philly Goat got left out. But Philly Goat, in honor of the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, they have the Green Sabbath shirts, which are outstanding. But Ozzy, like I said, not a huge Black Sabbath fan. However, a lot of Black Sabbath and Ozzy songs are staples at sporting events. If you watch the Osbourne show, really kind of put Ozzy in a different light. So rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. But get your Ozzy Osbourne shirt from Philly Goat, and don't forget to use that promo code. Okay, July 24th. We have a couple Phillies things to get to today. And first, we're going to go back to 1985. And on this day in 1985, the Phillies beat the Astros 3-1 at the Vet. In the bottom of the 8th, they were down 1 run with 1 out. or tie game with 1 out, and then Von Hayes comes up, hits an inside the park 2-run homer off of Nolan Ryan, which proved to be the game winner. Kent Tekulve came in and got the save for the Phils, but it was Von Hayes with an inside the park home run off of Nolan Ryan to give the Phillies the win. That happened on this day in 1985. Fast forward to 2001, Phillies beat the Expos 10-2. Scott Rowland had 3 RBI. Travis Lee hit a home run, but the story of the game was Tomas Perez, 2 home runs, 1 from each side of the plate. Now, what makes Tomas's home runs even more special was coming into the game, he only had 3 career home runs and 733 career at-bats, but he hit 2 on this day at the Vet as the Phillies beat the Expos 10-2, 1 from each side of the plate. Good old Tomas Perez. And then in 2003, Phils beat the Cubs 14-6 out at Wrigley Field. They put up a 9 spot in the 6th inning. As Charlie used to say, that is a crooked number. But Bobby Abreu tied a Phillies team record with 5 RBI in the inning. He hit a grand slam, and then when the Phillies batted around, came up and hit a sacrifice fly to tie the Phillies record. Placido Polanco also had 4 hits and 4 RBI in this game as the Phillies pound the Cubs 14-6 out at Wrigley. And we got a couple odds and ends for the Phillies on this day. 2002, Brett Myers made his major league debut, and it was a beauty. Went 8 innings, allowed 1 earned run, struck out 5, and makes you kind of feel old here, but Brett Myers was the first Philly to be born in the 80s to play for them. Yeah, makes you feel kind of old right there. And then in 2011, Pat Gillick, who was the general manager, made all of those critical pieces to put the Phillies over the top. In 2008, was inducted into the Hall of Fame. But that's what happened on this day, July 24th, in Phillies history, as we're slowly ending the summer and getting into some other things besides the Phils. All right, it is Thursday, and it's time for Throwback Thursday, sponsored to you or brought to you by Beach Caddy. Go to beachcaddy.app, use that promo code Jimbo to take 15% off your order. Best beach carts at the Jersey Shore. They got you covered. So go to beachcaddy.app. And I haven't mentioned this because the promo code doesn't work for that. If you don't want to set your stuff up at the beach, Beach Caddy will handle that for you too. So it's a great organization, great way to take the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. But today we're going to throw it back to Dick Allen. And this weekend on Sunday, Dick Allen will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame finally. And kind of a mixed career here in Philadelphia. Played 15 total seasons in Major League Baseball. 9 of them were in Philly, but he hit .290 with 204 homers. 3-time All-Star, was Rookie of the Year while here in Philadelphia. For his career, ended up with 351 homers, hit .292, over 1,100 RBI, won the MVP in 1972 while playing for the White Sox, led the league in homers 2 times, and during his playing time in his era, he is one of the best power hitters as far as numbers of anybody who played with him. Should have probably been in the Hall of Fame a lot sooner. And this is the one issue I have with, and I'm sure I think it's different in the other sports who gets to vote. But in baseball, it's the sports writers that do the voting. And some of them hold grudges. And I think a lot of those grudges is what kept Dick Allen out of the Hall of Fame, which is absolutely ridiculous. Your relationship and the person you are, to me, has no business in determining whether or not you should be a Hall of Famer. Now, there are exceptions to that, like the Pete Rose with gambling, the steroid era guys, and things like that. That they're like the outliers. But if you're a clean player, a good player who was bristly toward the media, that in no way, shape, or form should keep you out of the Hall of Fame. And nobody's going to tell me any different that did not play a role in Dick Allen not getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. When he was alive. He passed away a couple years ago, so he's not going to be around to see it. He had a up and down relationship with the Philly fans. A lot of it stemmed from missing games. He got injured because he punched out a headlight of his car. And then I think the final or the beginning of the end was the whole Frank Thomas incident we talked about a few weeks ago, where the Phillies players were under orders not to discuss it. And then Frank Thomas, after he got released, was going out telling everybody about it. And it painted, obviously, Dick Allen in a poor light. And he was never able to really respond and defend himself. But Dick Allen, to his credit, did play in a tough era in Philly. He was the first black superstar, really, for the Phillies at a time when you can not get any political or anything, but at a time when Philly was pretty racist. The Phillies were one of the last teams to integrate and have black players on their team. And Dick Allen, really, like I said, was the first black superstar the Phillies had. And the fan, and I mean, he played into it as well. I don't necessarily think he's completely innocent on it, but the fans gave him a tough time. Luckily, once he came back the second time, the fans embraced him. Mike Schmidt credits him with completely turning his career around, telling him to relax, have fun, and kind of shut out some of the noise. But Dick Allen will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's in the Phillies Wall of Fame. His jersey, number 15, is retired out at Citizens Bank Park. And the negative thing I'm going to say about him getting inducted this weekend is that it's a shame that he's not going to be here to finally get the recognition that he deserves, because Dick Allen should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. So congrats to the Dick Allen family on the induction of Dick Allen into the Baseball Hall of Fame this weekend. And excuse me, I have his autograph. You probably can't see it too clearly. I have his autograph. I remember my dad talking about him being one of his favorite players. Dude swung a super ridiculously heavy bat. They used to call it the Dick Allen Special. But kudos, much deserved, long overdue. So shout out today on Throwback Thursday to Dick Allen, who finally takes his rightful spot in the Baseball Hall of Fame this weekend. And like I said, it's just a shame that he is not around to be able to enjoy it. But Dick Allen finally gets the call to the Hall. And that's Throwback Thursday, brought to you by Beach Caddy. Use that promo code Jimbo to take 15% off your move in, move out, and your beach cart rental. All right, that leads us to today's trivia question. We mentioned that in 1985, Von Hayes hit the inside the park home run off of Nolan Ryan. And Von Hayes is a very polarizing figure in Philly sports. Mr. 5-for-1. He was traded 5 players for Von Hayes. Didn't really live up to the hype of trading 5 players for him. But some of those players didn't really pan out either. So I think the idea of 5-for-1 is really what gets Von Hayes a lot of grief. But the trivia question for today: who are the 5 players that the Phillies traded for Von Hayes back in 1982? Hit me up on the Discord, any of my social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, on Instagram at PhillyJimbo. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. And if you are on my social media, you notice I'm creating some AI clips. I'm spending every day with AI, apparently. But let me know your thoughts on them. Pretty cool that it's saving me so much time of editing. They just make the clips, and I'm like, hey, this one works. And then it's even better because I can say, can you include this as well? And they'll drop a clip for me. So go to my social media and enjoy that. Highlights are still there, still working through the details on how to edit the highlights in here, but still doing that my old school way. So that's on all my social media, including Facebook and LinkedIn. The trivia question, though: who were the 5 players that the Phillies traded for Von Hayes back in 1982? Finally today, our greatest individual season in Philly sports history tournament, wrapping up the regional semis. The Eagles, Saquon Barkley, no surprise here, knocked out Carson Wentz from 2017 with 83% of the vote. Lots of people said Saquon, and it wasn't even close. So he moves on to take on Reggie White from 1987. And then today, we are starting the regional final. So this is for the Phillies championship, the greatest individual season in Phillies history. We have the top 2 seeds. Number 1, Mike Schmidt from 1980, taking on Steve Carlton from 1972. Man, this is going to be a battle. Schmidt in 1980 was the MVP, won the Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, was an All-Star, hit .286, led the league with 48 homers, knocked in 121s, a .624 slugging, 1.004 OPS, added 25 doubles and 8 triples that season too. And of course, he helped lead the Phillies to their first ever World Series title, winning the MVP in the World Series in the process. Steve Carlton, likely the greatest pitching performance in Phillies history in 1972, won the Cy Young, was an All-Star, led the league with 27 wins against 10 losses, led the league with a 1.97 ERA, 30 complete games in 346 in the third innings, struck out 310, and really a lot of those complete games and innings were out of necessity because this Phillies team was so bad. Steve Carlton won 27 games that year. The Phillies in total won 59. So one of the most dominating pitching performance, not only in Phillies history, but probably league history if you break it down based on team success. So essentially we have the greatest offensive season, and I know Ryan Howard's numbers were better, but Mike Schmidt won the World Series and was World Series MVP against the greatest pitching performance. Your turn now. Which season was better? Mike Schmidt in 1980, Steve Carlton in 72. Get your vote in any way you can. Carrier pigeon, smoke signals, telegraph, Pony Express, whatever you got to do to get that vote in. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave a review. All of those other good things help out the algorithm, and notice more and more people are doing that, and we're getting more and more circulation, which in turn is getting more and more listeners and viewers. So thank you. And if you are new, welcome. We are glad to have you. Don't forget, fantasy football season is coming up. Great idea for the league champion and the league loser. Go to lotwin.com and get a 3D custom hype chain. Use that promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off of your order and get hype with Lotwin. All right, on this day back in 2003, Bobby Abreu tied a team record with 5 RBIs in the same inning, a grand slam and a sac fly as the Phillies beat the Cubs 14-6. Brett Myers made his major league debut in 2002 on this day, and then Pat Gillick inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011. 2001, Tomas Perez hit home runs from both sides of the plate as the Phillies beat the Expos 10-2, and Von Hayes, Mr. 5-for-1, with an inside the park home run off of Nolan Ryan to give the Phils the win. We'll have more on Eagles training camp and any updates that come out of that. I am anxious to know your thoughts on the whole Jalen ring thing. Personally, like I said, I don't care. It's your ring. I mean, you can hang it in a baby's crib and use it as a mobile. Whatever you want to do with it. I love the mindset, though, coming into this season. I love the focus on this year, not worrying about defending, not worrying about repeats. We're focused on 2025. And to me, that's the way it should be. Phillies are off, thank God. Tomorrow we spend Fridays with AI, so stay tuned for that. Shout out to Dick Allen and his family for finally getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. Looking forward to it. Like I said, it's just a damn shame he's not here to enjoy it. But like they say, that's baseball. And until there's a better system in place where the writers are not allowed to use personal bias, which I don't know how you're able to do that, we're going to have things like this. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 24th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Thursday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.